Center.
I'm Chris Berman. Let's get straight to the action. In our first game this week, we had the Ravens come away with a brutal 18-point victory. Keyshawn Johnson had a stellar game, but all said and done, his performance wasn't enough to lift his team to a victory. LaDainian Tomlinson had over 50 yards receiving and helped his Chargers beat the Panthers. In a long-standing AFC rivalry, we had the Jaguars win their fourth game of the year. Eagles, Browns. Brian Westbrook is just thinking, let's get out of the shadow of our own goal line. There's a first down. What shadows? The only shadows are the defenders behind him. He could go all the way. A 98-yard run. The Eagles win this one by the final score of 20-10. By the warm waters of Tampa Bay, we had the Buccaneers get sent away with a 7-point loss. We had a big trade also of note here. Trey's got the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris. Well, trades aren't quite as common in the NFL nowadays as they are in other sports, certainly. But we've got news to report to you on the trading front nonetheless. Kerry Jenkins leaves the Buccaneers and is on his way to the Colts. And he's a smart enough player that he should have no trouble adapting to his new line mates. In exchange, they'll get someone to beef up their roster. Rob Morris is just one of those guys you love to have on your team. He'll be an immediate factor for his new mates.
Over at Paul Brown Stadium, we had the Bengals edge their way to a narrow 3-point win. Lions, Giants. Kurt Warner is eyeing the end zone from the 11-yard line. And now Stutter steps, goes across the middle. Beautiful pass, touchdown. The Giants go on to win this by the final score of 13-10. The Dolphins got 300-plus yards from their offense in their victory at Pro Player Stadium. The Falcons lost on the road and will have to travel again next week to meet the Broncos. We had a big injury in this one, and Trey has the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Boomer, thanks. In front of you, we've got the AFC Infirmary Report. And as you can see, they were hit hard this week. Nicholas Harper sticks out on this list as one of the more costly injuries. He's suffering from symptoms of a concussion, and he'll be out for the rest of the regular season. There's a chance, however, they'll get him back for the playoffs. In front of you, we've got the NFC list. And as you can see, they could form their own mash unit. Warwick Dunn might be the biggest loss on this list. A frightening moment for the NFL, but doctors are saying the spinal injury he suffered will heal in time, which is certainly good news. He's out for the rest of the season. So that'll do it for now. Boomer, back to you.
Saints, Raiders. Rich Loose Gannon in the red zone at the 14. He calls the signals and buys time with a quick rollout. Now on the move again, kind of flings it. Oh, man, got the 2 feet in, touchdown. The Raiders win this one by the final score of 17-14. Donnie Abraham played well despite the loss and showed us why he's ranked up at the top of the league. Dante Culpepper airmailed 350-plus yards and helped his Vikings beat the Titans. We had an interesting free agency pickup of note here. Trey's got the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris. Let's switch gears and talk about players that'll have new homes in the National Football League, as free agency continues to play such a huge role in determining a team's makeup. Jason Gilden is going to find himself with a new club, and he'll be in a new tax bracket, too. 5 years, $20.9 million. Added on to that, a $6.2 million signing bonus.
Seahawks, Cardinals. Sean Alexander is in his own territory, would like to get his team out to the midfield stripe. Takes the pitch, goes off right tackle, bursts through the hole. Look at him go! The 20, the 10, touchdown! 62 yards. The Seahawks go on to win this by the final score of 20-17. So another week in the books here on ESPN, but what do you say we hand out a few game balls before we go? Here's my prime time players. That'll do it, sports fans. I'm Chris Berman, and thanks so much for joining us here in the Bristol studios. We'll see you next week right here on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.